Hey y'all, happy Thursday. I wanted to start today by sharing with you some coronavirus pickup lines that I found on the internet. I thought they were super funny and I just wanted to share. Even with this pandemic, the most contagious thing is your smile. Do you need toilet paper? 'Cause I'll be your Prince Charmin'. Can't spell virus without you and I. Can't spell quarantine without U-R-A-Q-T. One ply? Two ply? Neither. All I want is your reply. And here's just a couple of reminders about what's going on. So this week, every day, you're going to have a YouTube video and then a quizzes and then a Flipgrid exit ticket. If you finish any assignments late, I need you to send me an Edmodo message so that I know to go back in and check it. And if you're struggling on any assignments and you want a little bit of extra help, you can send me an Edmodo message to set up a Zoom conference, or you can send Miss Holmes an Edmodo message to set up a Zoom conference, and we would both be really happy to help you. So on Tuesday, we talked about linear equations. Yesterday, we talked about exponential equations, and today we're talking about quadratic equations. So let's take a look at this problem. Miss Reed was playing catch by herself because she has no friends. Hey, yes I do, I'm social distancing. She threw a ball straight up in the air, then completely missed it and dropped it. Okay, that sounds like me. When it came down, represented by the equation, negative 5t squared plus 14t plus 3 equals h, where t is the time in seconds and h is height. How long did it take for the ball to hit the ground? Well, if we're talking where the ball hit the ground, we're going to turn this h for height into 0. Because if the ball is on the ground, it's not in the air. It has no height. It's 0. So now we have a quadratic equation. It's in standard form. There's two ways that we could solve this. We could use slip and slide, or we could use a quadratic equation. I'm going to show you both. So first I'm going to show you slip and slide. I will slip my negative 5 into my 3. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. And now I need to find a factor pair of negative 15 that adds up to positive 14. So I've got negative 1 and 15, I've got negative 3 and 5, I've got negative 5 and 3, and I've got negative 15 and positive 1. And the factor pair that works is this one right here, negative 1 and 15. So now I'm going to take these numbers and write them out in factored form. So I have x minus 1 times x plus 15. But now I need to slide out my negative 5. So I'll divide both of them by negative 5, because if I multiplied it in, I have to divide it out. Negative 1 divided by negative 5 doesn't go in equally or evenly, but a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and I'll slide that 5 back in front. So I have 5x plus 1. 15 divided by negative 5 does go in nice and evenly, so we have x minus 3 equals 0. Can't forget about that equals 0, I'll bring it down. And now I'm going to set each side of this expression into 0. So 5x plus 1 equals 0, and x minus 3 equals 0. Subtract 1 from both sides, we end up with 5x equals negative 1. Divide both sides by 5, and we get x equals negative 1/5. Now this x is representative of my t's. Sometimes I switch into x's. Our t stands for time, and we can't have negative 1/5 seconds. So cross that off. On this side, we have x minus 3. In order to get x by itself, I'm going to add 3. I end up with x equals 3. Remember, my x is representative of my t's, which is time in seconds. So it took 3 seconds for the ball to hit the ground. So now we're going to solve this problem using the quadratic equation. I wrote it up here. I'm also going to sing the song to you. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And now what I'm going to do is plug these values into my equation. My a value is negative 5. My b value is 14. And my c value is 3. I'm going to take these values and plug them into this equation. X equals negative 14 plus or minus the square root of 14 squared minus 4, negative 5, positive 3, all over 2 times negative 5. And now I'm going to solve through using my PEMDAS rules. So x equals negative 14 plus or minus the square root of. You can assume that the stuff under a square root is inside parentheses. So this 14 squared turns into 196. And I'm also going to combine some steps to save space. Negative 4 times negative 5 is positive 20 times 3 is 6. D all over 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And now I can simplify again. X equals negative 14 plus or minus the square root of 256 all over negative 10. And this is where I split this up into 2 equations because we could add the square root of 256 or subtract the square root of 256. So we end up with negative 14 plus the square root of 256 is 16 over negative 10 and negative 14 minus 16 over negative 10. This becomes positive 2 over negative 10, which is equivalent to negative 1/5. And this becomes negative 30 over negative 10, which is equivalent to 3. Now if our x is related to our t, it's our time in seconds, if our x is seconds, we cannot have a negative second, so this cannot be our answer. Our answer is 3 seconds. So don't forget to do your quizzes, practice problems, and then your Flipgrid exit ticket. And you can comment on this video what you thought was the funniest pickup line, or you can write your own, but please make sure it is school appropriate.